He's always with me. I wake up and all my thoughts are with him always. He comes with me everywhere I go. And he lives in my heart, Lisa. What can I tell you? He's part of me now in all these endeavors that I did to make his name be remembered.
Welcome to the award-winning Authors Show, where we guide professionals in crafting a lasting legacy through the art of self-publishing. We help you remove self-doubt from your mind with our proven process to become a published author. We have helped authors all over the world to publish their books since 2002. I'm your host, Lisa Umina, CEO of Halo Publishing International. If you're ready to become an award-winning author, let's get started. I want to welcome a very dear friend. Today's episode is especially close to my heart because even though our paths crossed because she wanted to share her story, it went so much more deeper than that. And she's become a dear friend to me here in Mexico. She's helped me pave my way here in this beautiful country. Today I have Clarita Sierra. She's the author of two books. She wrote the book in Spanish, Luchando por la Vida, with her son, Alex Sierra. And then we translated the book, Struggling for Life, My Story. So we have both books out in the world. She's doing amazing things we'll get into shortly. But this conversation means so much to me because we've shared so many years in this whole process. And I'm going to begin, Clarita, with you sitting in my office and telling me I'm not a writer. And I told you, hey, you got to have an elevator pitch. What the heck is that? I'm not a writer. I'm not a speaker. And so when we get into our story, well, your story, but our story together, working on this, you understand the humbleness that Clarita has felt through this, through the whole. I think you're still humble through this whole process, and you're reminded so much about why you wrote it. But I want you to share with us today what inspired you to write this book.
Hi, Lisa, first. How are you? Thank you for having me in your podcast. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for this space and this moment. When Alex passed, I found a short testimony on his computer where he narrated or talked about how he got hooked in the dark world of drugs. So, reading that testimony, I saw that he wanted to share this story with everybody so nobody would have to pass through what he passed. And I decided with the rest of my family to write this book so we could help other families and we could help other persons like Alex.
And what was this process? Because I remember you shared with me the love letters between you and Alex. So what was the process of putting this all together, like from chapter one to the end? What did that look like for you?
I'm going to tell you a little story because you said that I'm not a writer, and I'm not a writer. I'm just
No, I never
mom.
said you. No, I never said you're
No,
not a
but
writer.
I
You're
told you that
yeah.
I told you that I was not a
No, you
writer.
clearly are a writer. No,
No,
there's no
I'm
doubt in my
not.
mind.
Okay. So I went on a trip. A friend of ours had a boat, and she invited us for several days to her boat. And there was this author, Mexican author, and I asked him, you know what, my son passed. I found this little testimony in his computer, and this is what I want to do. And I also, for many years, I shared with him many letters, and I want to see if there's something there. So he told me, bring everything to me, and I'll let you know. A few weeks later, he called us and he said, I would really like to have dinner with you. And I would to tell you about what you gave me, what I read. So we went to have dinner with him and his wife. His wife is also an author. And they told us, you have a book, but unfortunately, I cannot help you write it because I have a lot of work. But my sister in law is like a ghostwriter. She's an editor also. She helps us with all the investigation of our books. So I'm going to put you in contact with her and see what it comes out of it. So I called Ana Paula. She's been working in another books with other people, and she said that she would gladly do it with me. So we sat down for almost a year and we divided what Alex had left in 12 chapters. And from there we went on. So we started interviewing my husband, my children, a person we love a lot in our house, but it's the nanny that she's been with me for 47 years.
Wow.
So she saw when my three children were born. So the girlfriends, the friends, and we made a book in several voices.
Okay.
Our voice, Alex's voice, and the people who loved him and surrounded him through all this process. And then I met you. And I came to your office and decided that I wanted to publish this book. And the moment we met, I think we had a moment.
We did. Many moments.
Yes, but that moment, it was very important. I felt the chemistry between you and me. And I said, I want to publish my book with her. And that's the story.
I think too, behind that story, you're talking about a mother who's lost. And it's just in so many ways so hard to put all that on paper. And I can't imagine how you struggle to do that. I mean, I think you struggle every day with just the loss. So when we look at this book and we look at Alex's legacy and that he didn't want someone else to go through the path that he chose, and obviously it wasn't the right one. But I read this story and I know so many times in every chapter I kept fighting for him too. I'm like, good, he's making the right decision, he's not going to go back. But then one thing leads to another, and we all have hope for loved ones in our life that they're going to make the right decision or they have all the support. And I know you and your family gave them all the support and then some, just to help someone that is so dark and deep into an addiction. And I think that was a hard thing for you to struggle with and that you shared with me. But when we built all this, you're uncovering layer after layer and reliving it with me. I remember some of the times we would have dinner together and you just tell me these amazing stories about Alex. Not to mention he's an amazing, good-looking guy, just like his mom and dad. And it says a lot, it says, you had two strong parents, and yet no matter what you fought for, no matter what you tried to do, whether it was rehabs to whatever, you were always showing up for him. And I think that's all we can really do, because at the end of the day, other than us being his shadow, right? It just, you were always there. And I've read that through the story. I loved so much the intimacy that you shared with him, with the love stories. I call them love stories, but it was, his son writing to his mom and his mom writing back to him. But he always stayed close with you, even though somewhere in his mind, in his sick mind, right? He was so far, and so it was so hard to come back to reality. And so let's fast forward, Clarita, from a woman who told me that she didn't speak professionally. But come on, you had your cooking classes. I mean, you were always with people, but now you've got to go out there. And in an incredible way, by the way, I remember standing room only for your book release event, just for people just to support you in this message, because I think we all deal with someone in our life that struggles with an addiction. Okay. But here you are. You were asked to speak in one of the largest audiences here in this country, Mexico. What was that like?
Well, I think the first time I was speaking to an audience, it was one of the hardest things that I ever did. As you say, I work as a psychologist. I worked for many years in a hospital with patients with cancer and their families. I also gave cooking classes, but I have never stand in front of an audience. So it was one of the hardest things I have ever done. But it also helped me heal myself, because without writing the book and talking about Alex in all this conference, make me see Alex again, his true essence, leaving behind the addiction and all the moments that they were very hard, but we could also talk about him, that he was not his addiction. He was
Almost,
more than that. He was
almost
more
if
than,
he's in the room, right? Of almost if he's in the room and every single day, you know you think of him every single day. But every time you spoke about him, it was like giving a tribute to his life. And that's what
exactly.
I was inspired by that part with you because I feel that he, in some shape or form, right, even on this project working with us and bringing us together, because we could have just been client and publisher, like he was always in our room. He was always overlooking you, overlooking making sure you're doing it right, maybe the way he wants it, and it's just bringing it to life. And I know you make these speaking engagements. Let's not forget your other son who helps you bring the story to life. Talk about that because I think then once you spoke in front of one audience, then you thought, okay, let's make this a family presentation because it's also helping him deal with the loss of his brother. You want to talk a little bit about that? 'Cause I think
Yeah,
that's
sure.
powerful.
Sure. Well, I just wanted to say that when I was telling you that Alex is more than his addiction, he was funny, he was generous, he was sensitive, he was a beautiful human being. And giving these talks has made me remember him and honor him and tell everybody who he was. And that is very funny because people call me and tell me I read the book and we are all Alex, and I'm rooting for him, although
Yeah.
the ending is terrible. But I you can do it, Alex. You can do it. So it has been very humbling and very healing to do this. About my other son, the first few school conference that I did, my talk was a little bit like the scientific part, and then a little bit of our testimony. And we saw that people would not get engaged. So we decided to do something different. So when I go into the audiences, I say, I'm going to speak like a psychology in a scientific manner. What is an addiction? As a
Mhm.
mother, as a human being, what was for us, what we lived with Alex, and through the voice of Alex. And my son Mauricio will be the voice of Alex. So what we do at first is that I say that I was thinking how to engage them in this conference. And I thought bringing a person that would
Mhm.
talk to them about his addiction will make them understand better. So I present Mauricio without saying his name. And I say, I want you to hear this person that is going to tell you a story of how he went into this dark world and tried many times to go. So Mauricio reads some parts of Alex's books, and at the end he says, "These words were written by my brother Alex,
Oh, so
that I wish
powerful.
he could be here today. And I'm very honored to tell his story and tell you as his brother that it can happen to anybody." So everybody now is paying a lot of attention. So then I do the scientific part, telling these young adolescents, people, what addiction does to your brain, to your life. And then we start making like an interaction between me and Mauricio. He talks like Alex. He reads several parts of the book during the presentation. We put pictures of Alex, and I talk about those times as a mother, as a family. And at the end, we always say that Alex is there with us, that I always feel how he touches my shoulders and tells me, Mom, I refuse to be defined by my addiction.
And I think what you did, Clarita, is you took his lasting words that he's left with you and you flew with it. You made it bigger than really the story in itself. It's all over the world. It's bigger than you, it's bigger than Alex, and he has such a big part in that. And his legacy didn't just stop with that addiction. Every single day, someone opens that book and has a chance to start again, or they read it as a parent and they try to help their child go through it. Or, which I love, is this prevention part where now IMS had asked you to go to these schools and teach children what addiction is because such an early age now. I mean, between vaping at 12 or 11 or 10 to drinking, it's out of control. And so we need more people like you, voices like you, to be out there in helping people find their way. I mean, I think that's your mission in life. It's a big one. It's a big calling. And what better person to be that role model is a mother to hear your voice and to guide people into doing the right thing. And you're exactly where God wants you to be between your profession, between becoming the author, becoming the speaker. So for me, I mean, you're a mentor to me. I look up to you every single day of my life and thinking, wow, how all these amazing things. I think another thing, which I was just as a publisher that day when you had told me go to a local newsstand because they're talking about you in a magazine. Was it Ola magazine?
No, ¿quién?
Can magazine. And what was that about? Come on, tell me. That was beautiful. That touched my
Yeah,
heart.
this lady she was I don't know if the director or something like that of that magazine read my book and decided to put me in this honorary thing that they do every year. They they give homage, or I don't know how to say it, to 31 women in Mexico that have done something for the society or for the community or whatever.
For the
So
whole country,
or
31 women, and you were
yes,
one of them. I mean
and
that
she
that's
invited me that year to be one of the 31 women that we love. That's the name
yeah.
of, of
So
the book.
you've become so important to so many. I think sometimes we don't know what to do or what resources are out there. And I think as a publisher, when we put books out there, my goal is it's not just to publish a book, it's to publish a movement. And come on, we both can look back now and say, wow, that little angelic conversation we had where you put your heart and soul on the table and just said, look, I just need to get this message out. And wow, it just took off. And it, to me, when we look now back at it, right? So here you are now in self-reflection. I always think there's another book inside of you. But I think too, when it becomes so big, you put the proceeds. I mean, you take all the proceeds and you contribute to the Renaissance Foundation. You want to talk about this
Sure,
organization?
sure. When the book came out, I always said I was not going to, how do you say lucrar?
Yeah, you didn't want to take the proceeds.
I
You didn't
didn't want
need
to
you didn't
take the
need
proceeds of this story. I wasn't going to earn money out of this story. I didn't want that. So I was looking for a place that I would give the proceeds to, but it had to be a place where they treated people with problematic addictions and conducts with dignity, with love. And a friend of my husband said that he worked for this foundation and that they needed a lot of money, that they were in a very precarious situation. So we went to see the place and we met the person that is the director of the place. He is Father Valentin Urban. He was also an addict, and
well,
he has taken care of this place for more than 30 years. But he was in Texcoco, part of Mexico, and they took that place from him, and somebody gave them a good price to buy these baths in the middle of Mexico's downtown. And he took this place, and it was in terrible, terrible, terrible conditions. So we went to see it, and I fell in love with Father Valentin because he's a great human being. And we decided to help them. But we knew that the proceeds from the book were not going to do anything. So we decided to fix the place. So my son Mauricio, who is an architect,
it all
made
comes together.
made some projects, and we found everything in this life is so, like we say in Mexico, diosidencias
Okay. Okay.
instead of coincidence.
Yeah,
God,
of God. Yeah,
exactly.
God
So
coincidence.
Gerardo finds one day this guy in an elevator and tells him the story. And this guy says, Gerardo, you always help me. I want to help. He's an architect also. So this guy helped us fix. We did new bathrooms, new dormitories, the kitchen. We fixed the place, and everything that now we earn, it goes there.
Well,
It's not
wait,
much, but it helps.
but it is because I do remember I lost the name, or I'm not going to try to say it without saying it right. The Noxos, where they put people that have an addiction and there's no bed.
Annexos.
Nexos, right.
I
And
didn't want
so
that. I didn't want that.
right, right. No, and I never heard that until I've been here in Mexico, because in America there's always these rehabs and these
No, no,
clinics where the
no.
government support it. Here in Mexico, I
These
mean,
are
you're
horrible
really they're
places.
horrible. It's less than
But
an
let
animal
me
cage.
tell you something, because this is important. They are horrible places, but if you don't have money, there's the only thing that we
Right.
have.
It's the only thing you have. Exactly. So what
A
you
mother,
did,
a
yeah,
mother who's desperate
right.
because she washes other people's clothing to feed her children. And this son of hers comes and steals that money to buy drugs when this money is to
Oh,
feed the
yeah.
rest of his
Right.
brothers.
It's the other side
She's
of that story.
desperate and
Right.
she doesn't know where to put them. So
Okay.
these places, although are horrible, there's the only thing we have in Mexico. If you don't have money, if you pay, well, we have rehabs like in the States. But for
Exactly.
people that don't have money, they're very, very, very low income families or homeless people. This annexos is the only thing there is. But I didn't want that. I didn't want to help that. I wanted
No.
to help this place,
Well,
which
everything
was
lined up for
also
that. Right.
for low income people
Hmm.
in street situations like homeless, but that they would treat them with dignity. This father, Father Valentin, also studied a master's in addiction, and he studied to be a doctor, because when they get to the center, sometimes they come in terrible conditions,
I can imagine.
and he patches them up and he helps them. And it was a beautiful place to help.
But everything lined up, like you said, there is no coincidence. It's life, and from one next experience to another, you start this big crusade, and you build this huge platform, and you're doing so many things. And right, it had to start with Alex, and then it went from a book, and then it just keeps building to something bigger and bigger and more beautiful. So how do you, Clarita, keep Alejandro's memory alive daily? What is it that you do?
He's always with me. I wake up and all my thoughts are with him always. He comes with me everywhere I go. And he lives in my heart, Lisa. What can I tell you? He's part of me now. All his energy, all the things that he suffered, all the things that he did right, they're all inside of me. They're inside my other two children. They're inside my grandchildren. I can see in each of them something that belongs to Alex. So he's with us, and he has taken me by the hand in all these endeavors that I did to make his name be remembered.
Absolutely. You did a beautiful job in doing that. I know one story you shared with me. I was with you and you had said, come on, let's collect flowers. Let's collect flowers. And so I just remember we went on this boat and we went out to the ocean, and you just put all these beautiful petals on the ocean. It was so moving, so spiritual for me. It really touched my heart. And I know, because I follow you on Facebook, and I know that you do this with your family, and all of you gather the flowers from your grandchildren to your sons and your husband, and you do this beautiful, beautiful ceremony for him. So that to me just echoed in my heart. I thought, gosh, the love this mother has. It just, you're a beautiful mother. Your mother to me, but you can't be. You're my sister. So,
I'm
so
too
I
young.
exactly. I was gonna say you're my sister. You're too young to be my mother, but you could be motherly, and I could be motherly to you too. So
Definitely.
this conversation, obviously, uh, I hope I think any listener that hears what we're talking about today can listen to the most important message is that There is hope. There are resources. There are people that love and care about you that are willing to do anything in this world to keep you here, right? And so, Clarita, with that, what final message would you like to leave for our listeners about the message you're putting together, about the addiction, about prevention? What would you like to say?
Well, addiction is not just an individual thing or problem. It affects all families and all communities. But the most important thing is that you're not alone. There are many people that want to help you, that want to be with you, that you should always ask for help. If you're a parent, ask for help to professionals or to other families that can help you. And if you are a person that are suffering or struggling with an addiction, you're not alone. There is recovery. The path is difficult, but you should not walk the path alone.
I love that. That's so true because I think in life, a lot of us feel that we're doing it alone. It's just walk 1 mile in someone else's shoe. You never know. It's always to be kind and to be there to listen because someone could be struggling and those struggles turn to addictions as well because they can't find another way out. And I can't thank you enough.
And the most important thing that I have learned through all these years is that you should always treat people with addiction problems with empathy and
Yes.
with love and with compassion, and never judge them because you don't know what are they struggling with.
Exactly. And it can happen to any of us at any time. And I think that's what we'll leave this message on this conversation that we're having. I want to thank you. I want to remind everyone I have both books with me today. I have them in Spanish and English. They're all over the world. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Goodreads, Books A Million in the States. Here in Gandhi, Mercado Libre, Sanborns for the Spanish edition. Clarita, I can't thank you enough for sharing this time with me. I look forward to so many more beautiful stories that come out from this beautiful legacy you're creating for you and your family and for Alex. And I can't thank you enough for being in my life. I love you with all my heart. And
Thank you, Lisa.
thank you for being a guest.
Love you, and you are a very important part of my life because this book has healed my soul. That's the real truth.
Thank you. And you've healed me in so many ways. I mean this with all my heart. Thank you.